Hey guys, it's week 42, the last week of the year. I want to thank you all for joining me on this journey to build a $1 million startup. This has been such an amazing and educational experience. I'm so glad I chose to do this in public, and I'm so grateful to have all of you with me. With my final video of 2022, I wanted to do a recap and give you my reaction to some of the highlights of the videos from this year. I think it'll be fun to revisit them and see what hindsight offers. Let's do it. To set the stage, on March 10th, 2022, I started this journey with the idea of building New Teammate. It was an app that would give your company a way to create introduction videos that would welcome new hires when they joined your company. I had no clue if this idea had legs, and I had never made a YouTube video before. What's up guys, I'm Colin and welcome to the new Colin Makes Software YouTube channel. It is day 0 right now, and we're about to start an amazing journey together over the next weeks and months. We're going to build a software business that makes $1 million in annual recurring revenue, and we're going to do it with about $500 in seed money. Yeah. There's 1,000 different ways to build a startup. Smart people will easily disagree with a lot of my choices. My very first recommendation is figure out what works best for your personality and your skill set. I created this spreadsheet years ago, and I've had multiple versions of this. It's a tracking of basically everything we need to live. So I try to categorize expenses, and what I've done is I got a bunch of formulas in here. How much money do we have in the bank? How much credit card debt do we have? Basically trying to determine this number right here. Yeah, I really like how I started that way. I mean, your entrepreneurship is based on your personality. It is based on your skill set. And I think that dictates a lot of your decision making and a lot of your ups and downs. And also focusing on money is super important. You have to know where your money ends. And also focusing on your finances is a really important part of even being able to do a startup. So here's my pitch. Each person on your team records a video, a welcome introduction video of themselves, a little bit about who they are personally, the ways that they can help others in the company, explain their role and that kind of thing. So that's the video they only have to make once. Whenever someone joins the company, everyone gets an opportunity to create a 3 to 4 second video that's really just, hi Greg, welcome to the team. So on the employee's first day, they get a link, and it's a video montage of all the introductions of the company, starting with their boss, then their peers, and then maybe other departments. They can go at their own pace, they can pause and come back later. It's all very personal. When they come into the company, they really feel like this company has invested some time into them. Yeah, I mean, I still really love the idea behind New Teammate. I mean, it's kind of a shame that it's not going to be the idea that I take. It's fun to watch back at this because I feel like I'm already kind of grasping for straws at the sort of like need behind this product. I feel like there's a need, but it's very unvalidated. One of the things I'm doing is using TweetDeck to try to curate and find interesting content to get engaged with. So the main goal for me is getting customer interviews. I'm happy to say I got my first organic customer interview coming up very soon. And maybe if I'm lucky, get a line in with somebody else who might be another customer interview, so I can keep those interviews coming. Yeah, I mean, I love right from the beginning, I knew I had to focus on marketing. I knew I could not repeat past mistakes of building and building and building and not doing the marketing. So I'm really proud to see that I did jump onto that pretty much right out of the gate. So right now I'm feeling stressed about the marketing. I know it needs to be stronger, but I'm doing my best. At the same time, I feel like the interviews that I'm having with people are going really, really well. I have these fears of building something and then like literally nobody seeing it, because it's happened to me a lot of times, especially at the beginning of my journey. It may be the kind of thing where it's just a slower initial growth, and I'm okay with that. I'd like to avoid that. I'd like to just come out of the gate swinging, but I'm definitely resigned to the fact that it's possible that we may just have a slow beginning and the product is going to use that time to get really, really good. Yeah, okay. I still have those fears. And this was kind of the first emotional check-in that I did of the whole journey. And you might notice a couple times down the road when I repeat this, and it is a pattern that happens of just feeling super excited and bullish, and then kind of the world crashes on you, and then you have to recover. This is a pattern. This was an interesting moment of just like anticipating, putting all my fears out. I knew this would be my problem, and I hadn't quite got to it yet. You'll see as the videos go on, but it really was a substantiated fear. Okay, so here's the idea. You're basically saying hi to the world in 30 seconds, capturing a video that introduces yourself in some way and adds links to the pages that your content, so your Twitter or blog, whatever you have, and to replace Linktree from that perspective. And it creates your own page, so it's a page that you own and you can customize to yourself. I do have to say, this is very dangerous territory. When you get a tangent impulse while you're building your startup, you really need to make sure that it's for a good reason, because it's just normal human behavior to want to start something new when you're in the middle of your thing and it's just starting to get harder. Maybe the newness is worn off. It's just so natural to be like, wait, what if we did this? So I really feel the need to have to justify my decision on this with you guys. Yeah, this is really interesting because this was the moment I pivoted from New Teammate to Snaptro, and I felt like I was seeing that New Teammate was going to be tough to sell, and I needed something easier, a little more like
immediately focused. So this was kind of the first indication, like, okay, new teammate may be tough to do, but you never know when you put something out there if people are going to love it or not. And I think that's what Snapdraw was for me. It was like a quick tangent. It was a way to test something quickly. Didn't turn out to be as quick as I had anticipated, but let's keep going.
I don't like the idea of launching on Product Hunt without an audience because it's just going to be hard to rank, but I do have a couple nice things going for me. First of all, there's you guys. And then I also have to remind myself that I did this whole tangent building Snaptro so that I could build the audience. And I knew that I was going to have to kind of burn through maybe that Product Hunt launch to get those users. And I almost just forgot about that. So I don't want to get too lost in the weeds building Snaptro up and forget about new teammates.
This is me kind of expressing the known frustrations I was about to have, which is going into Product Hunt totally blind without an audience. You got to have somebody there to help you get boosted and ranked. So nervous about it, but then also realizing that was the whole point of Snaptro, was to put something out there that hopefully would grow an audience so that the next thing would go well. And honestly, that's kind of sort of what happened, but let's just keep going.
So I want to clarify my goals and expectations. My goals, number one, just to put myself out there. I've been trying to be as public as I can, but nothing gets you out in the world like a Product Hunt launch. Number two is validate if Snaptro could be a real thing or if it's just kind of a fun idea. Remember that this was a side quest that came from building New Teammate. I think it's going to be a nice funnel for New Teammate, but my hope is it's actually profitable on its own. Third goal is to see the audience for my whole build in public project and for New Teammate, which is the main idea that I'm working on and I don't have an audience for.
Yeah, okay, I'm really glad the way I did this. Setting those goals and expectations before Product Hunt launch was really important because I needed to get my head straight and know what I'm getting into, know what the risks are. And so that not only to protect your emotional state, but also just in terms of like practicality, what are you actually looking to get out of this? And I know that like I pretty much expected just a growth in audience. That was kind of what I was really expecting. But I really did hope that maybe Snaptro would light things up and people would just jump on that and flock to it. And it would open up a whole range of doors for me. And we're about to see how that did not happen.
New Teammate is all about and onboarding experience for new hires where they meet their coworkers with video introductions. I love this idea. I've gotten a lot of great feedback about the idea, but it's definitely a want. It's not a actual need. Snapdra's kind of the same way. It's not like an absolute need. So I'm gonna keep going with the plan, but if I come up with an idea that I feel like does solve a need, that's something to jump on and take advantage of. I've never been good at basketball, but this is an analogy from how I play. Whenever I would play basketball, a lot of times I take my shot and then immediately be ready for the rebound, making my best effort to make the shot, but always anticipating that we as a team need to get the rebound. And I think that's how I approach building apps too, which is basically let's put all our heart and soul into something, but be ready to keep moving on, new ideas. I think you need a lot of small bets sometimes to see what is going to play out.
Yeah, okay. This is me being very, I'm feeling the Product Hunt launch about to happen and feeling very nervous that it's not going to go well, and just acknowledging the fact that sometimes you got to put something out there so that you can seed ideas and figure out what to do. A lot of times a pivot is kind of the way to build something, is to put something out there to find that pivot, see what the market is actually interested in. And this is me being really, really open-minded about that and knowing, Snapchat may not work. Let's just keep our head open so that when we do launch and we see something come from this, let's grab anything that seems like it has legs.
Hey guys, what's up? It's day 140. This week was Snaptra's launch on Product Hunt, and it did not go so well. But it's important to see this for what it is. I do want to make myself feel better, and if you are kind of crushed from a similar situation, I think it's totally fair to kind of lift yourself up a little bit. But the more objective you can be, the better. And I think it's pretty clear to me, I got enough visitors to test this experiment, and it just didn't go very well. I don't like the word fail anymore. I think it's lost all original intent. I think it implies a total disaster, and I think it even carries this connotation that you somehow were the reason that it failed. I think fail should be reserved for when you personally drop the ball, when it's yours to lose and you lose it. To me, that's failing.
Yeah, so this was a tough week. This is when Product Hunt just did not go well. I mean, I did a YouTube live that day. I was up at 3 a.m. trying to get things going. I put a ton of effort into this thing, and it really just didn't go anywhere. And I like what I'm saying here. This reflection of like failure should be about when you actually drop the ball, not when you try and it doesn't work out. So I think that's a positive mindset to have on it.
I want to share with you guys an idea I have for a pivot. I'm not necessarily sure if this is New Teammate or if this is a new product, but it's got me thinking about how New Teammate works and how, I made that demo video of bringing an employee on and then seeing the video of their coworkers, their boss, and having that interaction. What if you got to see these people before you joined the company? And as I researched that, there's this rising trend of employer branding and how it's becoming a much bigger deal than it was in the past. Your about page, your company page, your career page, they're all contributing to your brand in a huge way.
Okay, yeah, you can start to see, the evolution is playing out in real time here. I definitely feel like I got a good signal from the Product Hunt launch in terms of like, oh, wait, I should not be at the post-hiring phase. I should be at the pre-hiring phase with new teammate. And I wasn't quite sure if it was a new teammate that I would needed to go and change it, or if there was really something totally new coming. But this idea of focusing more on the hiring part definitely led somewhere big.
I can design really nice pages for these companies, show it to them in a demo, and then try to get them on the hook for using that product, and then upsell them basically to this candidate experience where when they're hiring people, the people that they are hiring in their funnel get this really clear process of step 1 is interview, step 2 is interview, maybe there's an assessment, and basically clarity around that process, as well as the ability to send friendly rejection or acceptance messages based on how that candidate performs. This is somebody who's actually applied for a job at this company, and this is the portal that they get access to. They meet some people on the engineering team, and then maybe they have like a final interview with the leadership, and then at the end they potentially get an offer.
Okay, yeah, this is me really fleshing out that sense of like what is important in the hiring experience. It's the candidate experience that we can, circling around this whole employer branding concept that I've been reading and learning about. I really like where this is going, and it's kind of where I'm still going, but it's more of it's almost kind of the seed of an idea. It hasn't quite been fully fleshed out, but I like where I'm going with this.
I'm finding that a lot of companies are collecting resumes via simple email link on their site. Here's what I'll do. I'll build an apply for position panel that pops up on their site. It's going to collect name, email address, resume, and an optional cover letter or introduction. I'll automatically convert the resume to PDF format if it's not already, so that everything is is the same format. And I'll email the company, whoever the company wants on that email. Replying to that email will go straight to the candidate. The email will have the resume attached. It will have the introduction and the candidate information in that email.
Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. This really is what Dropboard is today. So this was the genesis of that idea. And I think what I'm getting at here is I kept being like, no, I got to chisel this down. We got to get to the simplest implementation of this idea, getting back to that MVP concept so that we can test it, so that we can grow it based on real user feedback. So this is me kind of taking what was starting to become a big nebulous idea of candidate experience and then chunking it down into something I could actually put my hands around.
The Dove House Recovery Center in Indianapolis is a great organization. I see they've got 4 positions that are opening. I created this demo for them. It's trying to keep their same site content. I'm trying not to shock them too much. So it's really just putting these job openings here. And then when you click on one, we just have a really nice, clean job opening. Maybe you meet some of the people from the team with some videos that play. And then I really want them to see this apply now option where they can collect applications.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point in time, I had created this whole about page builder, this career page builder, where you could put videos and you could put pictures and all sorts of stuff. And my thought was to go to these nonprofits and say, we can totally, amp up your career page and make this a much more employer branded experience. When candidates find you, they're going to be more excited about applying for your jobs, and we can actually have them apply on your site. So I wasn't exactly sure what the product was going to be yet, but you could see me building a little bit big, trying to figure it out. And my idea of going to nonprofits was I want to give this to them for free. They're always looking for ways to save costs. So that made a lot of sense to me, and I felt like I could just get in with them. So this is the beginning of my outreach process that was very tough to do, and it so far hasn't been super fruitful, but it led me towards, the next incantation of this idea.
Here's been my methodology for finding people to reach out to. Searching on Charity Navigator and other charity sites to find nonprofits that might be really beneficial to me. I'm searching for search terms in Twitter like careers page and looking for companies who are tweeting about hiring and asking people to check out their careers page. And a good potential for me looks like this. They've got at least one job opening. They've got no defined process for handling those applications. And then finally, they seem pretty tech savvy so that I can work with them easily. My goal right now is to reach out to 5 companies a day that are well researched. So far, what's the results been? I've sent about 25 emails and I've only received 1 response so far. That's pretty disappointing. Cold email is a very tough beast. It's super random about how things are going to work for you. So I'm trying not to let it get me down. I'm just going to keep trying on this and see how it goes after a while.
Yeah. The sales outreach in general is just the most painful thing for me. So this was one of those hard weeks of just trying to, hit the streets. I felt like I had a really compelling offer and people weren't really taking me up on it. So that was just a really hard process to work through.
Okay, let's talk sales efforts. I've been applying to jobs on Upwork that have been requesting building landing pages for career pages, about pages. So I've been trying to sell my service basically in that market. I also got my Upwork project approved where I'm basically selling for $59. I'm selling like a package service of creating career pages. This has been a really hard week. It's painful to be working so hard to try to get people to do something and you're even giving it away for free. I'm just at this validation point. I'm not actually asking for payment and still not really getting any traction is really frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like this so far was the darkest part of the journey. Just a really bad slump of, trying to deal with rejection and sales efforts not going very well and just trying to get the ball rolling, especially when you're giving something away for free and you're just trying to get feedback. That's hard. And that led me to create Project Wyverna, which is basically a burn rate program to see how much money you have left in your startup. And really, that whole process was to get myself out of this funk.
All right, guys, let's take a look at the demo here. So this is what the page loads at first when it just first pops up. And I've decided to use my actual expenses here as the starting point for anybody, just to see something with actual data in it. We have our totals in the top. We can see where our money is being spent, and it breaks it out by expense.
Yeah, so basically this is the app I built for just fun. Wasn't really anticipating this would go anywhere, but feeling like I needed something, fun to work on to get myself out of that funk. And it was really fun to come to this place and have it get built out. I look back on it now and I'm like, damn, I did a lot of work to get that ready. And then I just kind of let it go. But I really think it was a therapy session for me ultimately. At the same time, I did have hopes that maybe somebody would see this and be like, whoa, I want to use this. And I got some good feedback, but it wasn't enough to actually invest more in the product.
So here's some really great things about this strategy. The best scenario would be I put these things on the marketplace and the audience just comes to me. And then from there, I can iterate, adjust, and pivot and basically work with that momentum. If the audience doesn't automatically come with these platforms, I still have created a whole new marketing surface and a new way to find customers. So in addition to saying, does your website need a job board? I can actually target Shopify customers or Wix customers and say, I have a direct extension that works with this. You can just drop it into your app. And another nice thing about this idea, this strategy, is if I can't get users to this idea, so maybe if I'm finding people, but I'm not really making headway with this idea, I still will have created a very solid infrastructure for pushing out new ideas on these platforms, which will open me up for products that solve other customer problems that I can find.
Wow, audio on that one is pretty bad, isn't it? Yeah, so this was about me investigating marketplaces. So the Wix marketplace, the Shopify marketplace, and thinking if I go to these marketplaces with a really nice app, are there customers there who actually can find me instead of the other way around, which had been really difficult for me? So this is a really interesting hypothesis I had, and I think it was a smart one, and we're going to see how it plays out. Really, this whole process has been trying, this whole time I've done this journey, it's really been trying to find where the customers are for a solution that I can provide. It's really critical that I just keep looking. This is really the hardest part. I'm like a raptor poking at the fence, trying to find the weak spots. And then once I find that, galvanizing around that and building something super cool, all this work I've done, this foundational work will help me in that process. Yeah, I mean, it kind of sums up everything for this year. Everything I was doing was trying to find an idea that had hooks, had people's attention. And if you're not getting that attention, you got to move on to the next thing, got to figure out how to pivot. And that was just a crucial skill for this year. And I think that was an interesting moment that kind of sums it up.
So on one of the days this week, the world all of a sudden came crashing down for me. It's something I've gotten familiar with over the years of doing startups. Every once in a while, totally out of your control, you're hit with feelings of defeat and hopelessness. Comes out of total left field, and you're just sort of left to deal with those unwanted emotions. I look back at my journey around day 203. If you check out my video, I think it's called Rough Patch. I saw it happen then too. It's a pattern, and it's something I've learned to expect. But in my early days of doing startups, I did not know this. And it made those feelings last so much longer and spiral on themselves. So regarding the name change and the logo change, this is kind of the process I've taken on this. This was my very first logo idea, and then found out that looked really bad in small settings. So moving that a little bit, thought about job board and how to make that look right. And I thought about these tiles being different boards, almost like job boards. And that iterated to eventually saying job board for Shopify. And they didn't like that name. I came back with drop board and needed to change the J to something different. I really love this design. I think it shows like that board concept, and also this little Easter egg on the bottom right, this sort of faded color. I have this in my head as like the apply panel that shows up on the bottom right of anybody's page when you do submit a resume.
Yeah, so this is another one of those rough patches, and it's nice to hear the way I talk about it in terms of saying, like, this is a pattern, and I'm starting to notice that. I think that's really important, so that was one of the reasons I chose this clip. And also seeing how Dropboard kind of came from job board and how Shopify didn't like the job board name. It was too generic, so that pushed me into making it called Dropboard and then really, really liking Dropboard. So that was a fun process to see the genesis of that logo and that name.
Something happened this week that has changed my position on AI. A thing called ChatGPT came out this week and has blown the internet up with its capabilities of how good AI has gotten. That coming out sort of forced me to take another look at this and just dive back into it. And I had a major reaction this week to it, and I want to share. For the first time, I feel like I have witnessed the leap that AI has made.
Yeah, this was an interesting moment of just finally realizing the potential of AI is kind of there to be tapped finally, and where that might go for my applicant tracking system and taking Dropboard to the next level and actually competing with some really big players. I had in the past been like, man, they can parse resumes and do all this stuff that I'm just proprietary technology. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Seeing what AI can do here changed my opinion on that. And so that gave me some energy to think about taking on a really big fight. The major announcement this week is that I got my first recurring revenue. It was one of my Wix signups, and it's a $7 a month plan. So I can't tell you how good this feels to finally hit this mark. The first dollar is definitely the hardest, by far the absolute hardest in the journey of building a successful company. Last night, I got a very interesting idea. Since I have a product that hosts job boards and lets people apply, what if I published my own free job board and just repurposed Dropboard to run it? It would showcase the functionality of Dropboard and hopefully serve as an organic traffic driver for the product itself. Yeah, okay. You can see the excitement in my face and my voice. I hope that is a big moment. That first revenue feels so good. Yeah, that first validation that things are working right. And I think you can start to see that Dropboard is making more and more sense. It's like the thing that I want to do. And I've got a nice beginning for this. Like a slimmed down version of this product idea, and I also have an idea about where I want it to go. It's really exciting to see at this stage in the journey. There's also this idea about Job Drop being a free job board that I can get companies to participate on. I have no idea how that's going to go. We're basically caught up here as I'm watching this video, so I know nothing else. Hindsight's not going to help me here. It's feeling more and more like this is a smart strategy for the next iteration of ideas. Well, that's it for 2022. I really hope you guys enjoyed everything I've done. I would love to hear your feedback. How am I doing? How am I? What parts of the videos are you guys liking the best? What's kind of maybe something that I should maybe adjust? I'd love to get some feedback on that for the next year to make this experience as positive as I can for you guys. Thank you so much for following me and for being a part of this journey. This is a really emotionally tough thing to do, especially solo, and your guys' support means everything to me, and I hope I can really impress you guys next year, make you proud. So here's to a great 2023.